Well, hey, welcome back.
Welcome back. What are we talking about this week?
We're talking about a tale of four young women and a very special pair
A pant.
of blue jeans.
Blue jeans. Not just any pair of pants. Blue jeans.
Blue jeans. Blue jeans. I had to say it like a Midwestern
Yes.
mom. We're gonna wear some blue jeans. But no,
Ah,
we're talking about the classic,
it
the
is. It's so good.
2005. It's probably, honestly, to this day, it's probably one of my favorite movies. It's probably, I don't know. I can't even imagine how many times I've seen it, but
Hmm.
we're talking about none other than the 2005,
Oh,
which means that next year this movie turned 20, which is crazy to think
that's
about.
nuts. That's
Yeah,
nuts.
but the 2005 classic, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Ah,
And this is the Catnip Hour,
yes.
by the way. But this is going to be the movie nostalgic hour type thing.
Yeah, the nostalgic hour. Bringing it back.
Yeah.
But I was looking on Google.
Okay.
So here, for those who don't know what it is, here's
Mhm.
what Google says it is.
Here's what
Brit.
Google says it.
Yeah. So Bridget, Carmen, Lena, and Tibby are best friends living in Maryland. After many summers together, the four are finally going their separate ways for a few months. While Bridget heads to Mexico and Lena visits family in Greece, Carmen and Tibby stay closer to home. No matter where they are connected by a pair of jeans that they take turns sharing. Pants that fit all four girls and exemplify their tight bond.
Which is wild because um it was based on a book. We
Yeah.
also do have to know that it's a series of books, but I believe the series has four books, I want to say.
Really? I think I only
Yeah,
read the first two. But it is,
I think I only read the first one
yeah.
and then I read part of the second one, I want to say. But I don't know because I just remember because it was such a core memory for me in like middle school, seeing like the covers of the
Yes.
books
Yeah,
because
because
each
the
one was,
yeah.
yeah, each one was like the pair of jeans would be on each cover, but they would show like the little details in the jeans would change over time
Yeah.
because they would add. That's the whole thing with the jeans when they trade them back and forth. They add like little decals and like
Mhm.
little things to like kind of the pants are basically like almost like a passport
Yeah.
or like a journal because they just
Yes.
get like all types of different like decals or somebody will write on them with like a gel pen or something.
Yeah.
But I remember the covers of the books, the jeans would change
Yes.
throughout the covers of the books, and then the covers of like the actual background of the book would
Yeah,
be
the
like a
first one I
bright
remember being
neon color.
green.
Yeah, it was green, and then the second one I remember was purple because anything purple is just like stained into my memory
Yeah.
because it's my favorite color. And then I
Yeah.
want to say the other two books are, I think, orange and yellow. I want to
Yeah.
say.
So I on Wikipedia. So you have
Okay.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and then you have the second summer of the Sisterhood. That's the purple background. And
Mhm.
then for this title, like the third book, Girls in Pants, the third summer of the Sisterhood. That's
Girls in
orange. The
girls
Girls in
in pants.
Pants,
That almost sounds like a song.
colon, the third summer of the Sisterhood. And then the last one, oh no, that was the second one. And then the third one is Forever in Blue, the fourth summer of the Sisterhood.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
the
So
last one is
that's
Sisterhood Everlasting. So apparently there's
sisterhood ever. So there's five.
I guess so. Yeah, this,
Oh wow.
yeah,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the
wow.
the cover of Sisterhood Everlasting is a
Like,
lot
not
different
even like
from the
close.
other.
But then again, it came out apparently in 2011. So
Mm,
given that all the
okay.
rest of them were from the early 2000s,
Yeah.
obviously the style is going to change over time. But if I were looking at the last cover, I would not have noticed it was the same series of books.
It definitely looks like a YA teen book
Yeah.
that came out in like the early 2000s. Though, like the picture of like the water and just like you see like the dress like flowing in the
Yes.
background, which is wild because the last book also doesn't have a pair of jeans on it. It's like, what's happening there? I wonder.
Yeah, the fourth, yeah, Forever in Blue does, but like,
Oh yeah, they all do. Like I'm just talking about the last one. Sisterhood
yeah,
Everlasting doesn't have any
yeah,
picture of the jeans, and it almost looks like really ominous. It's just like someone standing in water. So I'm like, oh, what's
yeah,
going on there?
and like,
It says four friends, one sisterhood, 10 years later. So I'm like, oh, okay. Like
this is
like
10 years
tell
following
me
the. Oh, okay. So 10 years
what?
following the last Sisterhood book, Tibby
Okay.
moved to Australia with Brian, and now has almost no contact with the three other girls. After moving to Australia, Tibby learns that she's pregnant and also diagnosed with Huntington disease,
Huntington's
and
disease.
she hides that from her friends. So, Huntington disease is also known as Huntington chorea,
Yeah,
incurable
it's a brain.
neurodegenerative disease that is mostly inherited. The early symptoms are often subtle problems with mood and mental psychiatric ability. Just a brain.
Yeah, it looks like most it's a progressive disease, and most of the time you get diagnosed with it in your 30s and 40s, which would kind of make sense because probably by
Yeah.
like the fourth book of the Sisterhood, they're probably in their 20s, and then it says 10 years later, which
So
is
that,
probably
yeah,
like
it's
I'm
30.
guessing they're in their
Yeah.
30s by then. Oh, that's wild.
But why? I
I
get,
wonder because I know they pulled from like the last couple of books. Like there were certain elements that were pulled from like the last.
yeah,
I don't know what they if they pulled anything from Sisterhood Everlasting, but I know for the second movie they kind of tried to condense.
a
Didn't
lot. Yeah.
work. It didn't work as far as I remember, but it tried to kind of like
Yeah.
condense everything into like one movie. I was just like,
Yeah.
if they were going to keep, I don't. I guess they didn't get the budget to keep going. I guess maybe there wasn't a demand for it after the first one, but
Yeah.
I
I
mean, it
don't
was
know
good,
how
but then
I liked it.
I think the
Yeah.
second no, I know. I just mean like
Yeah.
I think the second one was the one that lowered the demand because I think the second one didn't live up to the expectations of like what the first one was as far as
Yeah.
movies. But I think that everybody was upset because they just kind of condensed everything into the last movie because they didn't think they were gonna make another one. And everybody's like, "Well, now we don't want
Yeah.
to." You rushed everything.
And I'm mad because, well, Rotten Tomatoes gives it 82%. So that's decent. But
That's
I,
correct. I'd say.
but
And probably I would like it to be higher, but
yeah, but IMDb gives it a 6.5 out of 10.
incorrect.
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 This
Go away.
is this is a feel good
And to think
movie. Like,
I was gonna use the IMDb quotes for this episode. You know what?
oh,
Now I'm not.
no, actually, please do.
I actually have beef with IMDb.
Yeah, I have beef now with IMDb.
Mm,
They can no 6.5. That's inaccurate.
that's so low.
That's so low.
That doesn't equate to 82% at all. Like what?
I know. And then it says media media critic. Oh, Metacritic is 66%.
Yeah. How much
66%.
mm, haters.
That's too low.
See this is why we only listen to Rotten Tomatoes and everything.
Uh, oh my gosh. But what are some of the quotes from the movie? I don't know if you
We
still want
don't
to use.
maybe we should maybe we should. I don't know if we. Speaking of this being a nostalgia, or maybe we can like say like how we got introduced to either the book or the movie, or I don't know if you remember like the first time you saw it or anything
I
like that.
don't. Well, I do remember, and I can't remember if it's grade school or if
Hmm.
maybe it was in high school, but I did do a book report on the first.
Oh, classic.
But I did
This
it,
is such a book report type book.
and I'm
Like
pretty sure I did
this
it at,
holes like
yeah.
into the-
I definitely did it after the movie came out because I think the one cover art that I have is from the movie
okay,
with the hand in the pant, like in the back pocket.
right, like the poster and
Yeah, I
the
think
movie.
that's the cover of the book that I have. So I must
Hmm.
have done it after seeing the first, after seeing the
Hmm.
movie. I don't
Okay.
know why I saw the movie. Maybe because it's like a kid friendly type movie. So it's
Yeah, I mean
easy enough
it
for
was
kids
right
to
up
watch.
the
Yeah.
yeah. I mean I think it was definitely they definitely advertised it on probably like Nickelodeon. Maybe not so much Disney, but I feel like this was like a commercial on like Nickelodeon or something. I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely was always like, I mean, still to this day, I'm the same way, but I was always like looking up like when new movie trailers came out, like even when I was younger, I still do it now. Like I'm always getting like updated, like, oh, this new movie trailer dropped
Yeah.
for this thing, and I would just always watch it. And I guess this caught my eye, and I remember I did see this in theaters, and I remember specifically because it was one of the movies. I guess you never forget like certain experiences, but I remember I actually was late. Shocking for me, I know, but I was late. Um, Going into I saw this with my mom at a movie theater that's now closed. So it's like, oh boy, not a
Oh,
big
so that
crowd
yeah,
that
that's
day.
true.
Yeah, my childhood theater that didn't survive COVID. R.I.P. Riverview Stadium 17 forever. Anyway, so,
Rip.
but yeah, rip. No, it was just like this like classic like big movie theater, and it was just like kind of like in the center of like where I live in South Philly, so it was just kind of like there's a lot of nostalgia attached to that movie theater. But
Yeah.
I specifically remember going in late to this movie, and I got into the movie right at the point where they were trying on the pants. So
Oh.
and back in the early 2000s, it wasn't easy to just like be like, well, I could probably just find it online at home. Like the first couple of minutes,
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I
it's
mean?
like,
Like
"Oh,
it
I
wasn't like
missed it,
when
I'll
things are
just"
on.
yeah, and there's
Yeah,
no,
2 months and it'll be on
yeah.
streaming, like, you know,
Yeah, there's
so
no
I
streaming services.
right, so I spent
Netflix,
at
I
least
don't even
6
think was a
months.
thing.
I don't even they might have started. I don't even think they probably had Netflix DVDs then,
Yeah,
and
like,
obviously they
the
didn't have
boxes you could
Blockbuster.
yeah.
Yeah, but I remember and I had to wait until this came to Blockbuster to watch, like, the first, like, 20 minutes of the
Mhm.
movie. So
Blockbuster.
I was just
Ah,
like that
yes.
was where in my mind it started when they're all, like, in the shop trying on the jeans because
Yes.
that was when I walked into it, so it's like, these
That
kids these days, they don't know how good they have it. It's
and
truly
I will
real
forever
nervous.
love that scene.
I know, I
I
know.
know it's like, is that accurate? No,
I
but
mean, it could be.
I
I
guess it
mean, I
could
don't know,
be.
depending on
Although I will say from owning jeans, it's so
uh,
bad because
yeah,
and I don't know if it's just the company that makes like who sells the jeans, but like I can
uh,
go to Old Navy and be like a size 4, but then I go somewhere else
oh, yeah.
and I'm now a size 10. And I'm like, and
Speak on
I
it,
am
because
not I'm
women's
not
clothing
big.
sizes are so inconsistent.
And I know it's not me because I have a high metabolism. I don't gain weight. So like I've been the same
Yeah.
weight for years. So like there's no way I just randomly went up like 6 sizes.
Right, right.
And then I can go back to Old Navy and get another pair and still go back to a size 4. So I'm like, I don't like what? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had, like, I mean, I guess since I was a teenager, like I've never like my weight has always like fluctuated, but at the same time, it's like I've never been a consistent size in one store that I am in another, just because it's proven. Like I've seen like numerous. Like I remember back. I need to find the actual video to credit who made it, but I'm sure she's not the only one that made it. There's probably a bunch of creators that have done this, but I saw a YouTube video where a girl was like, I tried on the same size jeans
Yep.
in or same size pants in 5 different stores, and it's like a mall that she's at. So she
Yeah.
goes to like Hollister, American Eagle, Macy's, and gets like the same color jeans. Tries to find a similar brand, and then the waist size. Even when she sets the pairs of pants like on top of each other, the waist sizes are like completely different. Because
Yeah.
then you have brands that are like, you even have brands that are like, I don't know if you ever heard of the brand Brandy Melville.
Yep.
They have an incredibly inaccurate sizing that just says one size fits all. Does it? You sure?
Yeah.
Like you'll have that where the waist will be very small, and then
Yes.
you have ones where it'll be like this is a 10, but it's too tight, but then 12's too big, and it's just like women's sizing are so
Yeah.
inconsistent. So you could say that this magic pair of jeans,
Maybe
you know how they have
it's
it sets
probably
up
accurate.
unrealistic expectations.
It
I was about to
honestly,
say that
as a kid,
could
you
be.
think, "Oh, it's not accurate." But no, honestly, given how
Could be.
inaccurate real life jeans are, I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
yeah. Or it could be like, wow, just another that there's memes where it's like, wow, just another unrealistic expectation for women.
Yeah. Also,
Oh.
on speaking of Sisterhood, because I was googling like the cast and everything. So you know
Mhm.
the little girl Bailey. Well,
Mhm.
not the little girl, but like the kid Bailey. That
I was about to say now everyone in this cast, which is wild to think about. Everyone in this cast is literally in their 30s and 40s,
yes,
which is crazy to
which
me.
is let me tell you. So uh Bailey, she if you've ever seen it or if you didn't, she's the girl that Tibby finds in the grocery store and she like passes out and she
Right.
ends up going to the hospital. Turns out she has cancer.
Mhm.
Um anyway, I was googling her because I was like, where what is she up to, right? I don't know what
Mhm.
she's up to, but she's 31 now.
Which is wild to think
Um
about because she was
she's
like a full on
yeah,
child in that movie.
she's pregnant and married. Do you
Oh
know who
God.
she's married to?
Who?
Max from Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Wait, married to? I thought that was her brother because they have the last name, Kate and Boyd.
No, I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe
Well,
they're
because
just
wait,
siblings.
yeah, I was about
Oh,
to say
okay.
because yeah, because look at the
Because there's a lot of pictures of them together, and then she's announcing she's
siblings are.
pregnant, and I'm like, that's wow. I didn't know they were
I was
related.
no, but stop! It's siblings are.
Siblings are dating. Oh, we should do an
If you
episode
look
of
at
just that. If we, gosh.
if
Well,
you look at their faces though, you can kind of see like the
okay, because
similarity
there's
there.
lots of pictures of her being pregnant, and lots of them. They must have like a clothing brand or something together. Okay,
Oh,
she's
okay,
not
I'm seeing
pregnant.
these pictures that you're talking
Yes,
about, and I'm
she's
just
not
like, huh?
pregnant with him.
Okay.
That would be weird, but she is pregnant. So good for her. But I
Maybe
did
she
not
lives in
know
Alabama.
her brother is the kid from
um,
Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
yep.
Yeah.
You ruined my dream journal. That could be another.
We need to do an
That could
episode
be.
on that movie too. That
I I could talk about that movie for a
yes,
very long time. That movie is so that honestly,
it's
we
iconic.
should do like we could do spoilers for upcoming episode, but we could do because it kind of coincides. Well, it's made by the same guy that made Spy Kids. We could probably do like a combo
Mm,
episode, maybe like Spy Kids and that. Ooh, that could be
yes,
good. Anyway, the ideas are brewing. This is see, you're saying where the magic happens.
yes. The tangents we go on,
Yeah,
but
but I guess maybe we should maybe we could talk about our core four our gals and
yes.
how they came from
Who?
this and what they went
Yes,
on to do because some of them have been in one of them now has been nominated for an Oscar,
yes.
believe it or not. Yeah.
Is it America Ferrera? I assume.
Yes, for
Yes,
Barbie.
for
Yeah, because
Barbie.
she was in Barbie
I still need to watch that.
Queen. You should.
But
It's very
well, first, I mean, yeah, Blake Lively.
good. Mhm.
There's no need to like you don't. It's Blake Lively. You know who she is. She's probably I would say the most famous one out of the four.
Yeah. Was this before or after Gossip Girl or during? I think it was
It,
during.
it
Was it
might
not?
have been.
Let's see.
Mm,
Gossip Girl, because we have
actually, yeah,
two out of the four of them were on like a YA like teen show
yeah,
while they were in this
yeah.
franchise. I
No,
want to
it's
say
after.
it's after.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah,
2007. Yeah.
2007. Okay, okay. And then we have Alexis Bledel, and I want to see when because
Well, she was.
I've I've honestly this is wild. I've never seen a single episode, but she was in Gilmore Girls, which
Yeah,
I know
never. I
is very
seen
beloved.
bits and pieces, but never
Okay, she
actually.
was
Yeah.
doing this. She made this movie during Gilmore Girls. Because Gilmore Girls lasted from 2000 to 2007.
Really, she was doing that
Yeah.
at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah. But I
Oh,
mean, I guess with a TV show, I guess you can be more flexible. Maybe it was like in between them, like filming seasons, or
that's
I don't
yeah.
know. That went on for 7 seasons. That's very long.
Wow.
I didn't realize it was on TV that long, but I guess it kind of makes sense from like every the
Yeah.
length of people talking about it.
Yeah, and then America Ferrera was Ugly Betty.
Right, that's true.
So I don't know when
I
that was
completely
either.
forgot about that.
I need to rewatch that.
2006 to 2010.
So they were all
So
kind of just
after.
popping off at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah. The Sister of the Traveling Pants, I guess a lot of their start of their careers.
Yeah.
And then America Ferrera went on to do a second sitcom. I don't know if you've ever seen Superstore. Pretty funny show.
Yes. I've never actually watched it, but I heard it was really good.
It's funny. It's like a Parks and Rec
Yeah.
office type thing, but obviously they work in like a Walmart type thing, so there's a lot of
Mhm.
room for crazy antics there. But I think the person out of all of them that has done the least amount of stuff is Amber Tamblyn
Mhm.
or Tibby. But it's
Do you know
wild
who
because
she's
do
married
you
to?
know? I was about to say, do you know who she's married to? She's
Yes.
married to the
I
David
I
Cross. Which is like
forgot.
the funniest
I
thing.
literally forgot that
And
they were
I just always think, I don't know if you've ever seen Arrested Development, but he's very
no,
funny in
I just
That's
remember
another show you need to watch. This is just going to be me just recommending shows for you to watch, but
he's
that's like
60.
the height of. I mean, he does
Yeah.
probably the two most things that he's known for is Arrested Development, and then all of his comedy that he's done with
Alvin and the
Bob
Chipmunks?
Bob
Yep.
Of course, of course. How can we
Yeah.
forget? Oh yeah, he's the manager guy in Alvin and the
Uh-huh.
Chipmunks. But he does a lot of comedy with that one guy from Breaking Bad,
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk. They had like a sketch show and everything. Very funny. But I really wonder. I wonder how their paths crossed.
I don't
I
know.
wonder.
He's also she's 41 and he's 60.
Yeah,
Which
there's an age difference.
nowadays is not bad, obviously, but
It's not
like
bad. It just depends on like when they met. Because when
yeah.
they met, I'll be like, and one aside, like, when did you meet? Like,
Like
how young were
yeah,
you
like if
met?
she was 30 and you were
Sure,
50, sure.
sure.
It's weird, but like there are a lot of people that date people that are twice their
Yeah,
age. But
yeah.
if you met when she was like 15 and you were
Mhm.
almost 30, that'd
Well,
be
they got married in
2012.
2012. So, I mean, she was born in 83.
Yes,
She's 41. I believe she's the oldest of the group of
yeah.
girls, I want to say. So, I don't know. It doesn't, maybe it's not that bad. Let's see how. I wonder how they met. Who knows? She doesn't have. Oh, yeah, she does have a child with him. I was about to say, are all the
Yeah.
girls
So that's
mamas?
12
Are they all
years
mamas?
ago. Yeah. So
Okay.
she would have been
2012 is 12 years ago. Oh, yeah.
so she would
12,
have
12,
been
24.
29 when they got married.
That's when they got married, though.
Yes.
I don't know how
Yeah.
long that they knew each other. I
So
don't know. At least happy, I guess. It's all good now. It worked out in the end. They have
they have
a
a kid
child named
together. Yeah.
Marlo.
Marlo. That's kind of cute.
Marlo.
Did you
It
see
is a
the
cute name.
picture? Look how cute.
I did.
So cute.
I'm trying to think. Are they all mothers now? Well, obviously we know what path Blake
Yeah.
Lively ended up. We know who she's married to.
Hmm.
Deadpool himself.
Yeah, she
But
has
I think they have a
four
bit.
kids, right?
I didn't realize they had 4 kids, but yes. But it kind of makes sense because I would always see like articles. It's like Blake Lively's pregnant. Blake Lively's having, like it seemed like she was just like.
And then they never announced when the baby, like they never personally announced when the babies were born. You just hear a
Mhm.
random story like, "Oh, Blake Lively had a baby," and you're like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
America Ferrera has
Very.
two kids.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Well, it's a fun fact. It's not really like a spoiler, but it's just cute. I think it's cute for you to know before you watch the movie because I didn't find out until after I watched it. But when you watch Barbie, the person that plays America Ferrera's husband in Barbie is her real life husband,
Oh,
which I thought was
nice.
really cute. Yeah, I mean it's cute knowing that. I think that enriches the experience knowing that. I found out afterwards, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's cute. But you'll see why because of certain things that he does. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, like I was watching, and I was like, oh, they have really good chemistry. And then I looked it
Mhm.
up after. I was like, oh, they're married. That's why.
Yep.
And then what about Miss Alexis Bledel?
She
She's 42.
Oh,
She's
wow.
not my 40s.
She's the oldest.
She's the oldest then. Oh, okay.
I did not.
Okay. I
Oh,
didn't know.
America Ferrera's 40?
Oh, okay. So they're all. So then Blake Lively is just the one that's the youngest, I
But
guess.
still, like, I don't remember
The passage of time is
the
crazy.
fact that, and I always think about, well, Pretty Little Liars is the same way, because they
Hmm.
were already young adults when they were playing the
Right.
teenagers. That now,
Right.
when you see how old they are and they're almost like 40, and you're like, there's no way. And then you realize they were already almost 30 when they played these. teenagers.
Yeah. So yeah, because I mean that's always been the case. Like if you look at I don't know if you've ever seen this TikTok on trend on TikTok. Excuse me, my brain works. I swear. There's this trend on TikTok where they'll like post things about like it'll be like either Gossip Girl or Shameless or other shows where it'll be like the character that we saw, and then it was like what they would actually look like if they were that age, and they'd like
Yes.
pull like even older pictures of the actors and what they
Hmm.
would look like at the age, like if it was accurate, and it's just like insane.
Hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, like what high schoolers actually look like during that time versus what
Yeah,
they're
it'll say like
saying.
something
Yeah.
it'll say like something traumatic that happens to a character in a show. Like it'll be like the I'll just use Elliot as an example. The Elliot that we saw, and then it was like the Elliot that was actually experiencing that, and then they show like the
Yes.
actor is like at the actual age, and then
Yep.
they play this like really sad song. I'm like, okay, this is
Uh-huh.
I think it's called like age accurate, and then like get me off of age accurate TikTok.
Yes. So I'm reading, this is the Wikipedia plot. I mean, we
Hmm.
basically already explained the Google plot, but it says,
True.
you know, all the friends, all four of them, are teenagers in Maryland who have been best friends their whole lives.
I
And
don't know why
then
I didn't know it was Maryland. I guess I just didn't know.
I
I was
don't
just
think
like,
they
oh, this was
stated
some
it.
I don't think they
Unless
did
they did,
either,
I
and
don't
they didn't
remember.
say well they weren't like real like you know how like if a movie's in like New York or like
Yeah.
Philly or something they'll go out of their way to like let you know that it is like if it's New York they'll be like hey I'm walking here you
Yeah,
know what I mean
yeah.
like they go out of their way or like somebody's eating like a pizza in the first 5 minutes like something
Yes.
to just like
Well, Grey's Anatomy, they make it known that they're in Seattle, and also the
uh-huh
hospital is Seattle Grace until
because
later on.
every other shot too if they're walking like in and out of the hospital it's always like raining or dark or
Yes.
cold which
Or like
maybe
in
Seattle is
between,
just
like
like that
when they're
but
transitioning over, they might show like the Space Needle, and you're like, okay. But
uh-huh
I don't think if
yeah
they've ever specifically said Maryland, and I don't really know what Maryland looks like to be like, oh, that's accurate.
yeah I
Um,
mean I didn't go to like a touristy part. I just randomly went there because my friend had like a karate tournament and we all went or like a we just went. It was just
yeah.
like but I was in like a random off place. I wasn't in like a touristy section
Yeah.
of Maryland. So I don't know.
And yeah,
They're known
all
for seafood.
oh
They're known for
yeah, that's
like
true.
crabs, like they said, Maryland crabs. I don't know.
Actually,
If anybody's listening
I
to this
I guess I
from
did
Maryland,
technically go to Baltimore for the aquarium,
oh, that's right.
but
That's
other
right.
than that, I wouldn't have not known if that was accurate. But their moms were
Yeah,
friends with each
right.
other.
So that's how they all met.
And then they
Didn't they
just
say that their moms all had them kind of like at the same time?
yep. So they're all
Okay.
pregnant at
Okay,
the
I thought
same
so.
time.
Right.
And then they would go upstairs and do like the yoga, whatever, all
Right.
together. And
Mhm.
then they all just kind of had their babies
Yeah.
close together.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
says they've been best friends their whole lives, and they're about to spend their first summer apart.
Yep.
Lena
And
goes, yeah,
it's wild how that one summer everybody had like plans. Well,
yeah.
I guess the everybody has plans except for Tibby who's stuck in
Yep.
her
Poor
hometown like
Tibby,
working at the working at like
the
it's
Walmart.
basically a Walmart, like a
Yeah,
Walmart
like a
place.
grocery store, Walmart.
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
then, so yeah, she has the most boring summer because Lena gets to go to Greece
Right.
to visit her grandparents.
Uh-huh.
Bridget is going to soccer camp. Uh,
In Mexico?
yes.
Yeah, it's in Mexico. Yeah,
Yeah.
because she said it's because the name always stuck out to me when she said it. I didn't know this was a name of like a town or section of Mexico. It was called Baja
Yeah.
California, and
Yeah.
I was like, 'cause at first I was like, oh, she's going to California, and I was like, oh no, it's Baja, Mexico.
Yeah. Baja California
Yeah,
in Mexico.
in
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah,
And then Carmen goes to South Carolina, it says, to visit her dad. And
right,
then poor
right.
Tivy has to just stay home and work.
Yeah,
And then
but
right, yeah, right,
spoilers for the movie. I think they said that they stay close by because I remember well later on we find out that Carmen's trip gets cut short, so then
yes,
she ends up spending like I think the last couple weeks of the summer with Tibby.
yes.
So
And then it's like right before they're about to go, and I think it's Bridget that's trying on the pair of jeans, and of course it's gonna fit
Uh-huh.
her, and she looks good, and she's super skinny, and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, it looks so good," and then the next one tries it on, and then the next one tries it on, and then Carmen's the last one. They're like, "Carmen, you have to try it on." She's like, "It's not
And
gonna
then they're
fit."
like, no, it's
Do
not
you
gonna
see
fit. And I
all of?
mean, even like, and they got progressively like thicker as they were trying them on because you can see like obviously they put that on
Yeah,
Carmen's like the plus size, but Timmy's also has like a thicker frame and she's like
yeah,
taller, and then you have Alexis Bledel who's kind of like shorter and skinnier, but then Blake Lively's tall and skinny. So they all
yes,
have like completely different
yeah,
builds. Like one's like an athletic build. I would say that Lena's like Bridget's athletic because she's like the soccer player, and then Lena's kind of like the like skinny like
yeah.
petite frame, and then you have like Tibby who's I guess like
Average, I guess. Yeah,
mid sized I guess,
mid-size.
and then you have Carmen, which I guess people would also maybe consider Carmen mid-sized too, but it's like she's a little bit thicker than
So they're
Tibby, but
considering,
it's
yeah, plus size, I
yeah,
guess.
so they all
Yeah.
have very different sizes.
And then, of course, they're like egging her on to try it on. And then she's
Yeah.
like, "You do realize, do you not see all of this ass? Like, it's not, it's,
Yeah.
she doesn't say that, but like, like the
No,
way
later
she, or
on
does
she has
she?
a quote.
But she,
Later on she has a quote where she says ass. And I remember because I was in the theater and I was like,
yep,
oh,
I
and I was
do remember that. Yeah. And then, so
like she has an
yes.
ass.
And they're not, oh my God. So obviously Carmen's like, there's no way, like, good for you, it fits all of you, but two of you are pretty much the same size.
Right.
Tibby's average, so like, okay, but the odds at fitting me, you know
Yeah.
they're not going to do that.
Right.
And then it fits, of course.
The magic jeans.
Yes, in case you didn't know that was going to happen. um it fits
How
them.
mean would it have been? How mean would it have been if it was just like it's two of them? It's like, oh, sorry, guys. That's
And
like the
Carmen's just
realistic.
like, told you.
No, that's the
uh
real. No, that's the realistic version, right? If it's two of them, and then the other two are like, yeah, I'm gonna get something else.
I'm gonna go up two sizes, but thanks.
Yeah,
Or like if
I'm
they
gonna get
kept,
this like I'm gonna
yeah,
get this like long skirt or like these flare
yeah,
pants and stuff.
yes. And then so they realize that all fits
Hmm.
each other. They buy the pants, and then
Yep.
later on they go up to the yoga studio area
Right,
that
where
their
their moms
parents
used
met.
to
Yeah.
get together because they still have like a tradition where they have like do they call it like they call it something. I think they make jokes in it. Like a couple of them make jokes like it's a séance or
Yes.
they
Yeah.
say something like and they
Seance of
light a
like the
bunch of
pants. Yeah.
candles.
Yeah. So they went up there at nighttime. They had candles lit. They had the pants, and they basically all agreed that for the few months that they were all going to be gone, that everyone would take turns
Hmm.
wearing the pants, and then you would send it to the next person, and you would write a little letter about how your week or whatever went while wearing the
Yeah,
pants,
yeah,
and then you just pass it on. And
yeah,
then, so the first one I think was Lena that got the
yeah.
pants, and she went to
Right.
Greece, and she met Costas.
Costas.
Ah,
Costas.
Costas.
Yeah,
I think that's how you say that.
Costas. And I love no because I remember specifically hearing like the did you get bits and pieces, obviously, of like their family
Yes.
backgrounds
Yeah.
for most of them, and then obviously they're spending not so much Bridget. I think you only really see like her dad
Yeah,
because
because her mom passes.
yeah, you found out
Yeah.
later on that her mom passed away. But for the most part of the other ones, like especially Lena, because she's visiting like a good portion of her family, you hear like the Greek accent and the way that they say it. I
Yes.
remember they said that's Kostas Dunas.
Yes. Yes. But like she meets him because she decides that, I don't know why she decided this, but she
Yeah.
was swimming in like the ocean or whatever it's over there,
Uh huh.
but she's wearing the jeans. Like
She swims in the jeans.
I'm
I
pretty sure
don't
because
remember
she
that.
her leg gets caught.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
the pants get caught on something near the dock, and she's like drowning, and then he goes to save her.
Right.
And like I get you probably don't want to be butt naked and go skinny dipping, but like you're wearing full pair of
That's
jeans.
bold. That's
That's
bold.
that's
What am
wild.
I gonna swear? Yeah, but have you ever felt like wet jeans? There's
Yes.
not a worse. There's few worse sensations than wet jeans.
Yes. Like
Like I don't
what
even like. I don't even like. One time I wore like denim shorts to the beach, and I was like, the ocean like hit me, and I was like, oh, this is not it. Like
no.
denim and water is just
I
like
spill
horrible.
even on wearing regular pants or shorts, and if
Mhm.
I spill water on it, I'm like, I I feel like I need to change. So like
Yeah.
jeans is just wet jeans. Oh no, it's wet for like hours, and of
She
course
was
like
like, she's like, just to feel something, I'm gonna swim
just to
in my
feel
jeans.
something, I'm just gonna go swimming in a
Yeah.
full pant like jean pants, not shorts, not jorts, pants.
Okay.
She almost drowns, and then
Mhm.
Kostas saves her.
Mhm.
And then, so of course, that's when you know she's gonna like fall for him.
Yeah.
But then, you know, um, oh, and then her shirt's all wet. So of course, he gives her a shirt.
Mhm.
And then when
That's like
yeah, she goes to like deliver it to him. And then that's when her family was like, oh, who are you talking to?
mhm.
And then she goes, oh, Kostas. What's his last name? Dunas?
Dunas, Dunas,
Dunas?
Dunas,
Dunas. But when they
Dunas. It almost sounds like somebody saying like, "Do not, do not do that."
do not talk to Kostas. I
They
just
said, "Do not." That's
do
really good.
not. I just
Because it just
know
so happens. Because it just so happens that their family have these like
they're
age-old,
beef.
almost like Romeo and Juliet type rivalry.
Yeah, their beef
Like
is strong,
that was
dude.
definitely, but that was definitely cute though. Like I could see where the author was, where her like headspace was. She was like, I gotta give one of these girls like a Romeo and Juliet esque story, minus the death, obviously, but
Minus
like
the
a
death.
Romeo and Juliet, like a star-crossed
Minus the
lovers type,
poison. Yeah.
minus the fake death and then real poison.
And then real death right after it. But you can tell because they like when you watch it, they had some serious
Mhm.
beef. Like I don't know if that's in real life like how strong
I don't know,
Greek
but it was like, do we
are,
even
but
remember what the disagreement was about? I don't even know.
oh
I
yeah,
was
so
about to look it up.
it's on Google. It's on Wikipedia.
Okay.
So it says
Okay.
when Lena returns the shirt to Kostas,
Mhm.
he tells her the reason for the dispute is money and fish. What
Mm.
about what everything here is about? And then Kostas' grandfather claims that Lena's grandfather cheated him. And then, of
Oh,
course,
okay.
Lena's grandfather claims that the fish he purchased from Kostas' grandfather makes his whole restaurant sick.
Oh,
And then they pursue each
okay.
other despite the dispute between their families because it has nothing to
Mm.
do with them. So
Mhm.
originally she's rebuffing it and like, I can't, the whole secret
Mhm.
thing. But then they start the secret relationship.
Yeah.
And then he tells her he loves her. But of course her family's not okay with it. So she like gets taken away.
Yeah.
And then they're yelling at her for breaking the promise and can't see him again.
Which is wild because
Yeah.
your 80,000-year-old beef has nothing to do with me.
And
Like,
also,
he didn't cheat me out of money for selling fish, or I didn't make his
my
restaurant say
restaurant's
like, it's
sick.
got nothing to do with me.
And then it says Lena's grandfather
She has,
even
like, a
spits
very
in Kostas's
traditional
face.
family, so
Yeah. But it says her grandfather even spit in his face.
yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
I
Yep.
remember that scene, and that was one of the scenes that was shocking to me because I remember I was watching it with my mom and she went, "Oh my god." Like,
Oh
I remember, like, we
my
just
god.
they're like, "Oh my god." Like, a lot of
Yeah.
for a movie, and I remember the book being similar, like,
Yes.
and I
It was
think
pretty close. Yeah.
when it goes on, the book series does end up being, well, a lot of YA novels, like, on surface level, like, people will say, like, "Oh, they're just, like, cutesy, like, love stories,"
Why?
but
Yeah.
they dive into some deep,
Oh yeah.
intense shit, and this is no exception because each one of these girls deal with something that's, like, pretty tough. Like, they
Yes.
each have, like, a moment where you're just like, "Oh, this is,
Uh
like,
huh.
heavy." Like, this is no, like, teeny bopper, like
Yeah.
talking about boys only like type shit. You know what I mean? Like
No.
they have
They're
like intense moments,
Yep.
emotional moments. I think
Uh,
that's why it's held up for so long
yeah.
too, is because you can watch it despite it whatever like it being like if you say like certain elements of it are like outdated or like
Yeah.
it's just like you can't really relate to it if you're not like a teenager. No, there's the I feel like this is a highly relatable
Yeah.
emotional tale. You know?
And then I think she ends up talking to her grandfather towards the end. It was like, "Hey, this dispute, it's been going on for like too long.
Mhm.
You basically have to get over it because I want to see him before he leaves to wherever he was going."
Mhm.
And then it says, so the next person was Tibby, and
Mhm.
this broke my heart. Like the whole
Mhm.
scenes with Tibby and Bailey. But it says working at a department store, Tibby finds a younger Bailey who fainted in the store, and then she calls the ambulance.
Mhm.
And then later, Bailey delivers the pants to Tibby's house when they accidentally got delivered to her house instead because they're like neighbors.
Right. Right, because they're
Um,
neighbors. That's right.
yep. And I just remember when Bailey fainted and they got the ambulance to come and they're like taking her out, and Tibby has a little thing on her forehead, a little
Right, because
sticker.
she got
She got
bored and
bored.
she started just doing that. And then I remember I know what you were are you talking about the scene when Bailey says to her, "You have a price sticker on your forehead."
Yes, here's the price. And Timmy's like, oh, great. Like
Oh man.
embarrassing. And then it
Yeah.
says, and then what I guess she learns that Tibby does like self made films.
Mhm.
So she says that she's going to be Tibby's assistant. And Tibby obviously is very annoyed by it, but she
Yeah, because
accepts
she's
it.
just like
Yeah, because like
like
this little
beat it,
kid,
beat it, kid.
yeah, like, you're this little kid and I'm in
Right.
high school. I don't need
Right.
you following me around doing everything. But
They
then,
have a very like younger older sister type
but yeah,
relationship because I think Tibby doesn't have well she has a very young
brother, I think,
sister.
sister,
She's a
yeah,
very well. She has young two very young siblings. So I don't know if the dynamic is that her
yeah,
mom like got remarried. I think that's the dynamic.
yeah,
Like I think Tibby's dad. I don't know if they ever mentioned Tibby's dad. I just remember seeing Tibby's mom, and she's always like in a hurry. Like she's always like running. Like I have to go to this appointment. I'll be back, and she just like
yeah,
leaves. And but I remember she has like a younger because I remember seeing a baby in a coach like in a
yeah,
carrier and then a baby that's like old enough to be like a toddler. So I
yes,
think she has two very young
yeah.
siblings. So
And then so
we got a whole new
originally,
dynamic with Bailey.
yeah, and then she initially was like, nah. But
Yeah.
then one day when she came home, she saw like, I guess Bailey's grandparents, I think, were outside, and
Uh huh.
and Tibby was wondering where Bailey is, and then they were like,
Right.
"Don't you know, like, she has leukemia?"
Yeah.
Um,
They
and
said
she's
she's in
like,
the hospital
in the
or something. I
hospital.
think at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she goes there, visits her with the pants, and then Bailey obviously takes the pants. Um,
Mhm.
eventually, and then they spend all this time together. She gets out of the hospital. Then she becomes Tibby's assistant, and then she ends up in the hospital again.
Mhm.
And then that's when Tibby's mom got a phone call that Bailey did die. Um,
Yeah.
but that whole thing
So
was
fucking
heartbreaking.
so fucking sad. Now the scene with them that got me really emotional was I think it's like the last like it's the night before Tibby's mom eventually gets the phone call
Yeah,
and it's the night when it's basically their last night that they are hanging out
yeah,
and Tibby's like laying in the hospital with her
yes,
and then
yeah.
she's like I'm literally getting choked up like thinking about it. I have not even watched this movie like recently, but
Me
there's
neither.
these
But
emotional moments
yes,
in this movie are so like a core of my being from like
yes,
childhood and everything. They just like they hit. I don't even have to watch. I can literally like I was looking up the IMDb quotes and like getting emotional from like just
yes,
reading the
yeah,
quotes. But it's this thing where she's like, I think she says something like "You're gonna be great to be," or "You got to make a movie," or something like something that she
yes.
said. I forget. It's something similar to that, but I'm just like, oh.
then I just
And they kind of
remember
she kind of like knew that she was
dying,
going
yeah. And then I
daily.
just
So
remember Tibby also being like, you gotta make like you gotta make it, you gotta like pull through, like keep fighting, like
right.
this isn't it, and then it's that's it, and you're like, oh my god,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that
And
devastated me.
I'll never forget that shot when Timmy's like lying on her side on the bed, and then you just see in the background the mom getting the phone call, and then you just see the tear like stream down
Yeah,
Timmy's face.
I
It's so sad. I'm literally getting choked up like thinking about it.
yes, and also
Oh,
Carmen, like everything with Carmen really got me too.
oh god,
Like
yeah, the stuff
not
with her
as
dad
much
because it's so difficult
like
though.
Bailey's thing got me the most because like she was young, she had cancer, she
Right,
died. This is like another
right,
type of hurt that just like really just like got me.
yeah. They
But
couldn't have picked like four. Like I know they were all like up and coming actresses at the time, but their performances are also a big part of why the movie hits the way it
yes,
does still to this day, because if you would have got people that were just like whatever about it or were just kind of like not like if they like just like an average performance, but these four girls like
they
poured their
really
heart into this
yes.
movie. And I think that's why they're still
Especially
like close to
America
this day.
Ferrera. Like
I know.
her
I
scenes,
know.
ooh.
I
So
mean, no wonder she would go on to be nominated for an Oscar for another monologue.
yes.
That's her thing. Like she was even good. She
Yeah.
has a great couple. Honestly, I would say like probably like I don't even know because she's got the scene in the dress shop where she kind of tells off the But we have her storyline is her she's basically reconnecting with her dad that's kind of like
Yes.
estranged, right? And
Yeah.
then because it's just her, she lives with her mom, and then her dad I guess he kind of like what like left, I think basically, or like
Yeah.
I mean it's kind of like implied that even like he either left or like after him and the mom separated, he like basically didn't really contact her, and
Yeah.
like out of nowhere she found out like he has like a whole like new family.
Yeah. So it says,
So
um, like she obviously knows him
right, right,
enough because so she arrives in South Carolina. And
mhm,
as they're driving, she's all excited because she hasn't seen him in a while and they
yeah,
like to play tennis together. I think it was tennis.
mhm,
So she was
yeah,
all
yeah,
excited, like, I finally get to spend time with my dad.
yeah,
Only then, on the way back to the house, as they're like pretty much pulling up to the house, that's when
yeah,
he's like, by the way, I'm
right,
about to marry the most amazing woman, Lydia. Also, she has two children, Paul and Krista. It's like
right.
you
Krista and Paul,
and it says in the Wikipedia, it says they're all blonde wasp.
like white. I know what that sounds
I
like. It's
know, but like
white. I know the acronym is really bizarre though. It's white Anglo-Saxon Protestant
Protestants.
is
Yep.
what it stands for.
So
So it's
basically,
basically yeah, it's basically just blonde hair and blue eyes. Is
yes.
basically
Um. Yep.
so like the polar opposite. Like Carmen feels some type of way from the beginning. I think because she's like, oh, you found a new family that's literally the exact opposite of me
Yes.
and mom.
And also like,
Ooh, like that's got to feel some
but
type of way
but
from the
also like,
beginning.
you can find another family. That's fine.
Yeah,
Most people
yeah,
do, but to
yeah.
not tell at least your daughter,
Right,
hey,
right,
you know, obviously it did not work out between your mom and I. It's
right,
been years now, and I have met somebody.
right,
This is who she is. She does have, like, he never mentioned anything.
right.
And he knew she
He
was,
never even tried. He
no,
never even tried to communicate. It was like he
because he
couldn't.
knew how she would
Listen,
feel.
she. Right, right. But he. I think he says it later on that he's like, I regret like being like it was almost like came from a place of like hesitation, or he was almost like afraid to like
Yeah,
communicate. It seems like, but in
yeah,
the end, that ended up doing more damage than
yes. And it
like he thought he
says,
was
yeah.
protecting her,
And it
and then in
says,
the end, it became damaging.
although Carmen's father and stepfamily initially seem welcoming, they emotionally neglect her and continue to live their lives as if she isn't there. She'll come
Yeah,
downstairs speaking Spanish, assuming her father still understands her from when they were married, only to be told that nobody understands what she's saying. They're not
Yeah.
excited by her idea to make Mexican food for dinner. And Krista's friend, Krista's the stepsister. Krista's friend
Hmm.
comes over and mockingly asks, "Is that her?" And then Krista says,
Which is like,
"Yeah," in the same tone. Um, so obviously
do they
she,
say that to her face or like behind her back? Because to say that to her face is crazy.
and then I guess they, yeah, and then
Maybe like a whisper
yeah,
tone. I think
I
they
think
like
they were
whisper. Is
saying it not thinking that she would hear them, but she was walking by as they said it.
that? Hmm.
And then
One of those moments.
yeah, and then she feels uncomfortable because her dad is saying Paul and Krista are his kids, which is true because they are his kids now. But like
Right.
she's also still his kid.
Right.
And so like she's upset because if you look at how he is with those two, like he's involved so much in their life.
Right. And then she's like, "Well, what about me?"
Like what about like and she's in high school. So
Hmm.
you mean to tell me you've been absent for so long only to now be president now for somebody else?
Yeah.
Like yeah, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. The one line again. I'm gonna get emotional about. I think it's Tibby and Carmen's storylines that are the most
Yes.
emotional. I mean, Bridget does have the emotional moments with her mom as well.
Yeah.
That came later on in the movie though. But the line that makes me cry a lot with Carmen was like, and she's emotional, like when she's saying it, so she's like, "It's like you traded me in for something that you thought was better," and I'm like, "Oh my
Yes.
god,
Yeah.
that line hurts
Yes.
so much." Like
Uh-huh. And then it sucks
uh
because her dad, like they, all of them are playing tennis together and then
huh,
um he goes to Paul's like soccer games and he's
uh
talking
huh,
about how great Krista is at whatever is she doing. And then she's
yeah,
like not involved. And then she goes to the dress shop to get
uh
the
huh.
dress for the wedding. And it obviously
Ooh,
doesn't fit that whole
this
scene.
scene, hmm,
Um, and so she's
which
like
is
getting,
wild which is wild to me because you mean to tell me that nobody in that tailor shop has ever been that size? That's
and you're
crazy.
acting like she's from My 600 Pound Life.
Yeah, but
She's
that's
not.
crazy to
Like
me. It's
there's,
great. Like that,
yeah,
they're just not, unless that town is like so small and there's such a limited you, they have got to have come across.
yeah.
That was so like
I was
insane. Like
that got me some type of way.
I was very pissed. Like because
Yes,
I'm like, you can't be making her feel like this. She can't be like exactly like you had to. Oh god, the
yes.
way they were just making her feel like the alienation
And what?
that
Yeah. So
I can't stand it.
what really pissed me off? Well, obviously
Hmm.
she's trying on the dresses. It doesn't fit. So
Mm.
the tailor was just kind of like, "Oh, we'll tweak Krista's dress, blah blah. Like we'll hem it, and then we'll have to like uh I forget what it is, but like they have to make a whole new dress basically. But she calls her the other one. And then
Mm.
Carmen Clear is like, I have a name. It's Carmen. And then she's like yelling at
Damn
them.
right.
And then she runs
Damn
away.
right.
And what pissed me off too is so Carmen like gets pissed off and leaves. And then she eventually takes a taxi home.
Uh-huh.
And she just sees her dad enjoying dinner with the family.
Right.
Were
Like they
you
didn't
not
feel
concerned?
he didn't right, he didn't feel the need to reach out. He didn't like cuz I know it was 2005, but they had some she had to if she's traveling by herself as a young woman, she
Yeah.
has to have some type of cell phone, even if it's like a flip phone. She had to have some
Yes.
means of him to contact her.
Yeah.
So they're just like not alarmed at
So
all. And
I'm
they're just like
wondering like did
like
what was said because he obviously wasn't there. So
right.
did the stepmom, did Lydia say something like, "Oh, she was just having a rough time and she just needs to clear her head and she said she'll be back
Right.
later," and then he's not concerned? Did she tell the
Right.
truth? And he was like, "That's all right. That's how she is." I guess we'll
Right.
never know, but like it pissed
Yeah.
me off that he's literally like it's not like they're having dinner and he's also like freaking out about his other kid. Like, no, they're just having dinner.
Right,
Like,
like there nobody's out looking for her, like
no one's
nobody's like wondering if she's
concerned.
okay. Because also traveling in a city that she's not familiar with
Yes.
by herself, and she's a teenage girl, and nobody's alarmed by this at
Yeah.
all. But she's just like out by herself in a city where she's not familiar. Like
Yes.
they're just like, yeah, we're gonna enjoy our dinner anyway.
I loved it, and she shouldn't have done this, but I still love it. When
No,
she
no,
finally,
I'm for. I know what you're
yes.
saying.
But when she comes home and she sees that her dad's just casually having dinner with his new family, she throws a fucking rock at the window and breaks it.
As she should,
And
because
he's
I
just,
honestly,
yeah,
honestly, she's justified. I feel like she's
yes.
justified
And you can
because it's
just
like you're
see
gonna
his
notice me
face.
now.
Yeah, you notice me now that I throw a rock at your window at
Right.
7 o'clock at night, but I've been gone for how long?
Mm-hmm.
Like at least 4 or 5
Because they go to
hours.
the dress right. Because they go to the dress shop, and it's clearly in the morning or the middle of the day.
Yes.
So even if she was out to clear her head, like you wouldn't get concerned after it gets
Yeah.
dark. Again, a teenage girl
And
out by
then,
herself.
and then, and again,
Crazy.
obviously Lydia is not Carmen's mom, and maybe she doesn't
Right.
feel like she needs to step up. But like,
Right.
if if we were in
I'm
that
talking about the
situ,
dad. I'm
yeah.
talking about the dad. You know.
Well, yeah, but like at the dress shop, like, yeah, Lydia's not her mom, so maybe she doesn't feel like she has a say in anything and doesn't want to overstep her boundaries. But if
Right.
someone at the dress shop made her feel that way and she's pissed
Yeah.
and stormed off as the
Yeah.
stepmom or as a this is who I'm dating your father person and not the stepmom yet, like
Right.
I would be after her being like, Carmen, wait, like
Yeah.
it's
And then I would
okay,
also
we'll
be
find a
telling. I would
different
also be
place. Like she doesn't
right. We
even
can go to
attend.
another shop. We can go somewhere else to find you dressed. I'm sure there's like a mall near there somewhere. They
Yeah.
could just be like, "Oh, we're gonna go." Like, they're. It's probably because I mean they seem like they're in like a pretty like affluent situation.
Yes. Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, we have to get this custom tailored at this store, and we have." You know what I mean? They seem like
Yes.
that kind of thing.
And
But
yeah.
it's just, I would have also been I would have also said something to the tailor. I would have been like, "Oh, you don't have to talk to her like that.
Yeah.
Like,
But
she's
again,
included in this family. She's part of this family. Like, you
she
know,
yeah.
like,
And I mean, maybe it is because she's the stepmom and she doesn't want to overstep and say anything. But at that point, like you already ruined her entire trip. The least you
right,
can do is like step up for her. And like
right,
not everyone's
exactly.
gonna look like you. And there's no
Yeah,
way this lady has never seen anyone that didn't look like that.
yeah.
So like you're
I mean, I
just
guess she might be that type of like ignorant person that just puts the blinders on.
yep,
It's just like I care about my family, and that's it.
yep. The typical like it's
Just
only
like
about us. Yeah.
affluent,
Yep.
white, privileged
Yes.
person. I mean, that's what the whole family was giving off. So,
Yeah.
I
And
mean,
then yeah.
out of the mom, this stepdaughter and the stepson. I mean, it seemed like at one point she seemed like she was okay with the
Stepson.
stepson. He
Yeah.
seemed like the most
And
reasonable
I
of the
feel like
three.
he's just your typical like airhead guy that's kind of
Yeah,
like go with the flow, whatever, whatever.
yeah.
And then Krista just seems
Isn't,
exactly like her
isn't,
mom.
right, right, like a clone of her mom.
Yeah.
Isn't there one scene where the son doesn't he get like hit in the face with a
Yeah,
tennis
yeah,
ball?
because she so what she was gonna do, so they went to his soccer game
Hmm.
and she's all excited because this is her day after soccer. This is her time to play tennis with her dad. And he goes
Right.
on the phone, and I think he's talking to Lydia on the phone. And then afterwards, he's like, I gotta go. Like,
Hmm.
something, something, Lydia needs me, or Krista needs me. And she's like, well, what about tennis? We were going to play tennis. And he's like, you can just play with Paul. And she's
I
like,
was like, oh, thanks. How
great.
awkward.
How awkward is
I've
that?
never spoken to him. I've never spoken to him since now.
Yeah, he doesn't speak to me.
Yeah.
And Krista's just rude to me. So then they play tennis, just the two of them. And then she's very hardcore about it. And then she hits him in the face. And then he ends up having to go to like the hospital or something. But she she throws the stone at the window, and
Uh
that's
huh.
when she was like, "I'm leaving." She goes home,
Uh huh.
and then Tibby and her are talking, and Tibby convinces her to like call him
Right.
and tell him exactly how you feel.
Hmm.
And so she calls him, and then I think on the phone she's crying. Basically,
Yeah.
like how you abandoned me
Yeah.
for like that other family. Like
Mhm.
you act like I don't exist. Like I'm not your
Yeah.
kid.
I can hear her voice on
Yeah.
the phone
Yep.
talking to him, because I remember the inflection again. That's making me. I'm literally getting like a frog in my throat, like thinking about it when
Yes.
she's like, "Why did you leave? Why did you have to
Yes.
go?" Like I can hear her voice.
It's so sad.
Ah,
It gets
America Ferrera, you've always been a star. Like she's just always been
also
like a
she
great.
was in some
I
yeah.
know they're all great actresses, but damn, America Ferrera was like, I'm getting my check.
Yes.
It's like,
And
uh,
and she was in a few Disney things, I think.
I
Right?
think so. Yeah.
She was some oh,
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
kick it
Yeah. Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes, and that was also, another very, emotional movie,
Yes.
because that was a lot about, like, representation, and I know they were all, like, a Latina, like, cheer group.
Yes. Yep.
Gotta Kick It Up, I remember. I
Gotta
remember
watch
that's
that.
where
Yeah.
that movie yeah, that's I haven't watched that in a long time. I think it should be on Disney Plus. I would
Yeah,
hope.
yeah,
If it's
because
not on Disney
it's
Plus, I'd be
a
very upset.
Disney Channel original movie, so it should be.
Yeah, it's a decom, but the
Yeah.
thing that I remember about Gotta Kick It Up is that's where I learned the phrase "Si se puede," like, 'cause that's all
Yes.
they would always shout. They would go "Si se puede" before they do their, cheers.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
And then we have our fourth member of the
which
sisterhood. We
to
have
me,
Bridget.
I mean, obviously, her mom dying was like that's a tragic thing,
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
and like I've been there, so like I get it. But it's just
Yeah.
the
Hey,
rest. It's the rest of the
you and
movie.
me both,
Yeah, it's rough,
unfortunately.
man. So like I get
Yep.
that portion of it. They do
Uh-huh.
show the scene with the funeral. Her friends are
Uh-huh.
there, and they're there
Uh-huh.
for her afterwards, and they sleep over and all that kind of stuff. But like
Yeah. That's in the
during,
flashbacks, though. That's in, like, the build-up in the
yeah,
beginning,
but
too,
like
so
it's her like her soccer camp moments to me.
yeah. Mhm.
It's like there's nothing that really goes on that you're like, oh, like it's not gut
No.
wrenching compared to like Carmen's and like Tibby's
Right, right.
or even
Yeah.
Lena's with her Romeo and Juliet, beef.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have,
And Lena has some tense moments with the family,
yeah,
again, with the rivalry and
yeah,
everything, but of the 4, until we see I think they tried to make up for that later on with the sleepover, like, I guess maybe it was, like, the kind of person that she is, like, she doesn't really tap into her emotions as much, and then
yeah,
it
yeah,
seems like it's a kind of thing where it builds up, and then she just kind of, like, lets it all out at once, but,
yeah,
yeah, her thing was basically just, like, typical, like, I guess they were like, every storyline can't be emotionally heavy
yeah,
because it would be too much. This also does
yes,
have to be, like, a fun, lighthearted, like, teen movie, so they gave her and Lena kind of, like, the
yeah,
boy storylines, you know what I mean? Like, "I found a boy in a new place, and I have a crush, and da 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 da," you know?
yep,
And hers is kind of, like, scandalous and, like, not scan but, like, kind of like in looking
it
back on it
is,
now, I'm
yeah,
kind of like, yeah, it's kind of not good. Now I'm looking about it because
yeah,
she was at the camp, teenager, and he's one of the counselors or coaches.
and he's in college.
Probably, yeah, he's in college.
So it
So now
says,
that I'm looking
yeah,
back and I'm like, "Ooh, icky." Like,
but
I
here's
don't
the
like it.
thing.
Now
So
I'm
it
like,
says she arrives at soccer camp and
"Uh-huh."
she develops a crush on Eric, who's one of the coaches.
Right.
Despite relationships between coaches and campers being forbidden, obviously she
Mhm.
flirts with him and seeks his
Mhm.
attention during games. There's
Yep.
also that one scene where they're going for a run and everyone's running at like
Mhm.
a slower pace and he's up at the front and so she like speeds up to go talk to him
Right.
while they're running and then they both like speed up together and leave everyone behind and go to like some secluded area of the beach. Um,
Yeah.
but when she gets the pants, you know, after all the flirting, even though it's
Mhm.
forbidden, and not to mention she's still in high school
Mhm.
and he's
Yep.
in college. I don't
And we
think
don't
they
know
they don't. Yeah,
how old in
yeah.
college, because there's a
So,
difference between him being, like, his freshman year and being in college,
but
and then
even
being a
yeah.
senior in college.
So
Like, either
him
way, it's not great,
no,
but
like him if she and they don't really say how old they are.
Right.
So they could be freshmen in high school, which would be how old? 14, 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like
Well,
14,
yeah, like
probably.
14 going on 15, depending on when their
Yes.
birthdays are.
So if he's even if he's a freshman in college, 14 and 17, like you're still teenagers,
Yeah.
but like that no, I'm pretty sure I was 18 when I started college. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess you're
Yeah.
teenagers, but it's still a little weird unless
Yeah.
she was a senior and he was like a sophomore in college. So
I
she
don't
would be
know. It's
almost
still, it,
18. It's still weird,
yeah. The
but
only
like
reason it didn't look weird in the movie is because, again, they fall into what every teenage casting falls into, was they are casting 20-year-olds to play
yes.
teenagers. And he was probably around the same age. Like, it was probably like
Yeah.
Blake Lively and him in real life were probably close in age, which is
Yeah.
why it didn't look too exaggerated. But
Yes.
if it was age accurate, who knows what it would have looked like.
Yes. And
Yeah.
then so obviously they're flirting. Then I think she goes to his cabin at one point and he's like trying to say
Mhm. Yeah,
no.
she's very forward with him for
Yes.
sure.
And
Like,
then
she makes it
yeah,
known what she wants from the
yes.
beginning.
Good for her for being very open about it. But again, he's
Yeah.
your soccer coach and he's at least 4 or 5 years older than you are. It's a little weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then she finally gets the pants.
Mhm.
And so obviously when you get the pants, good things are supposed to happen to you.
Yep.
So like when Timmy got the pants, Bailey was out of the hospital for like a little bit.
Right.
And like obviously Lena met Kostas. So like good things
Mhm.
are happening. Um
Right.
so I guess her good thing is that she leads Eric to the beach and they have
Uh-huh.
sex for the first time.
Right, and
And this is
she
her first
loses
time.
her.
Yeah.
Right, doesn't they don't state whether or not it's his, but she definitely lost her virginity to him because I
Yes.
remember I think Lena, she's the last one to get the pants, I think,
Yes. Yeah.
because then it goes back because I remember she specifically writes to Lena and says the whole thing like, "Oh, it happened just like I thought it would, but why?" And
Yeah.
this was concerning to me too, so I'm just like, I don't know. I feel bad that she felt this. I don't know if it's just like the guilt of like, like when you're a young woman you're taught to like, and
Yeah.
even when you get older you're taught to like not enjoy like play, you know what I mean, like we're always taught like
Yes.
where you have sex to have children, you know what I mean, it's that
Yes.
whole like
Yeah.
thing of like you can't enjoy things as a woman, but it's
Yeah.
like
And
she has
I
the whole thing of
yeah.
like it happened just like I thought it would, and
Yes.
why do I feel so empty, and
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh
So
god, that I felt so bad that that was the
yeah. So
way
it
the
says
reaction that she had coming from that experience that's supposed
yeah,
to be
and so it
a
says
nice
Brid
experience.
yeah, the quote says Bridget becomes depressed afterwards, lamenting that
Hmm.
how can something that should have made her feel whole made her feel so empty. And then she isolates herself when she comes
That's
home.
pretty emotionally deep. Honestly, that could be a little bit of
That's
emotional.
true.
That's as
Yeah.
emotional as her storyline with
Yeah.
him gets, I would say.
Yeah. And so she like stays by herself for like days after she comes home. And then after she does send a letter to Lena. And
Hmm.
then when Lena finally gets it, she calls Carmen and Tibby and they go to Bridget's house.
Yeah.
Um, and Bridget worries that she's like her mother, whose mood swings and mental issues culminated in deep depression and her suicide. Which I
Yeah.
which I forgot. So like her mother's story is like affecting her. And I think at
Hmm.
one point her dad had all of these letters that he like never showed Bridget that her mom wrote
Hmm.
and stuff like that.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they just reassure her that she's stronger than her mother was and like look at the happy memories that you
Hmm.
had with her and not the bad times. But the
Yeah.
last thing this says, and this also gets me some type of way, but it says, on his way back to Columbia University, Eric visits and apologizes to Bridget for his behavior and expresses his hope that she will give him a chance when she's older.
Ooh.
So if you're sitting
Ooh.
there, if you're,
Ooh.
I know,
I don't like that at all. I
uh,
forgot that he said that to her.
so
Ooh.
if you, I just can't, I can't.
Ooh.
I'm gonna throw up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Things that don't age well. Sounds like a
Eric.
2000s movie to me.
Yep. Um,
Oh
and it's
god.
like if you have to say that to somebody, you have to say, "Wait for me," or
Yeah,
"Oh,
no,
call me back when you're older." You shouldn't have done
that's
it in the
creepy.
first place.
That's creepy though to say that. I just feel like that's something that shouldn't be said. Like
Yeah.
that's said too. That obviously not now because I think people have the common sense to not do it, but that would happen a lot in like 80s, 90s, and 2000s movies. Like there'd be like somebody who's young who has a crush on somebody that's older, and
Yep.
then the response from the older person wouldn't be to shut it down. They would say like, "Oh well, call me when you're older." Weird,
Yes. And it's like
weird.
that. So I noticed in obviously Pretty Little Liars. I don't know if you knew
hmm
this, and it's also in the book this way.
There will
But
be a separate section of this pod where you get me to finally watch that show
yeah,
because I really need
we'll
to.
do it by season because doing it by episode would just be too long. But
Oh, we would be like, "Actually, guys, now this is a Pretty Little Liars
yes, it's
we watch."
now yeah. But in Pretty Little Liars, spoiler, and also in the book this way, Arya comes back. I forget. I think she was in Iceland for like a family
Oh,
vacation or whatever,
the
and
the
she comes
teacher? I
back.
know of random things,
Yeah,
like, this is the whole thing with the teacher.
yeah, she comes back, and she's waiting for her brother to get done like lacrosse or
Mhm,
whatever. So she goes to like this bar, restaurant bar thing, and she's sitting at the bar, and she sees this guy that she thinks is like super cute. They start flirting
mhm,
with each other. He's saying he just graduated and is becoming a teacher, but he also likes
mhm,
writing. And she said, "Oh, I like writing too." And then he goes, "Oh, where do you go? Or what are you doing?" And then she basically says, "Oh, yep, I'm in college too." And then
mm,
they make out in the bathroom.
ooh,
And
oh,
then,
no.
but she doesn't know at that time I mean, she knows, but he's not aware that she's still in high school. But they're making out in the
Mhm,
bathroom, and then it's like a one off fling. But then the first day of school, she goes to her English class, and the teacher turns around and it's him. And they still go for each other, despite the fact
oh,
that
boy.
she's, I think at this point, they're sophomores in high school, and he's just out of
Which again,
college.
you couldn't tell at all from on the surface of it at all, because
In the,
again
I feel like in the first season, you could tell they were younger,
okay.
but as
Because
time
that
went
show went
on,
on for a pretty long time,
yeah,
right?
yeah, there was 7 seasons, I think, 7 or 8.
Mhm.
Um, and then even in Young Sheldon, like the spinoff to the Big Bang Theory,
Uh-huh.
um, also another spoiler, but Sheldon's brother finds this girl, Mandy, who is played by uh Emily Osment. He's
Oh,
so
okay.
he sees her at like the laundromat or whatever. He flirts with her. They're flirting with each other. He lies about
Uh-huh,
his age. She lies about her age. But I think
uh-huh.
she only lied about her age being like, oh, um, I think she only lies by like 1 or 2 years, but he's like twice as young as she is. So like she's
Mhm.
almost 30 when he's technically like 17. But like
Yikes.
they didn't she didn't know that he was that much younger.
Oh,
And they're
boy.
still together and they're doing another spin-off. And I do
Hmm.
like, but when you watch it, I do like their relationship,
Yeah,
but it is weird.
yeah. I mean, I just didn't realize, like, I don't know. Again, I guess it was because of the fact that they were
Yeah.
probably similar in age IRL, but I definitely forgot that he said that to her when he
Yes.
went to go see
Yeah,
her.
it says so at 17 he
What
drops out of high
How did
school.
he find out? I guess from, like, her paperwork or something? Like, he found out, like, where she lived too. I was like, "Wait a minute," because
Yeah, so it says like
they all met and the camp was all in Mexico,
yeah,
but they all came from, like, different
yeah.
places, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So,
but
he had to, like, look her up and, like, go to her house. Can you imagine her dad, like,
yeah,
"Who's this
yeah.
guy?"
I never understood that either. Like how did he
It must have been, like, they must have, because I imagine especially if it's, like, a camp that's done in another, like, an international, like,
yeah.
another country, they probably have a lot of paperwork and probably have to have certain
Yeah,
things on file for them. So he probably had to look. He probably had to do a little bit of snooping, but I don't know. That's
yeah,
probably not, that's not the weirdest thing about it. The weirdest thing about it is definitely the age difference
yes.
for sure.
Uh, I
But
just
yeah, when it goes on to later on, when everything ties in with Bridget's mom, that's definitely where her storyline
yeah.
gets highly emotional. Like the scene where they all have the sleepover. Is Lena there for the sleepover that they have?
I think they all I think they all are.
They finally right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and what
Because
gets
I think either Brit, well, obviously Tibby was home the whole summer, and then Carmen came back earlier than she planned, and then I think Lena was the last one to get
yeah,
back from her vacation.
yeah.
So,
And also what got me and I found 'cause now I'm looking at the quotes that you're looking at.
uh,
Um
good
but
old IMDb.
yes. Um
Probably my one of the first IMDb is probably like one of the first websites that I remember like consistently going on.
yes, that Wikipedia, but mainly for school for that.
Yeah,
But I remember this made me sad too.
yeah,
After everything, Tibby confides in them that like Bailey died.
yeah.
And she hasn't like watched anything that Bailey did. Bailey made a
Oh,
video
the
recording of herself.
video. That's right.
And then so it's kind of funny, some of the things she says. But obviously
Yeah.
it's kind of sad. But she goes, "Hey, it's me, Bailey. You don't have to use this in your movie or anything. Although now that I think of it, painting in Wallman's does kind of qualify me as a loser. But then again, wearing a price sticker on your forehead probably makes you one too." But then she goes on to say, "I don't know,
It's so
Tibby.
cute.
Maybe the truth is there's a little bit of loser in all of us.
And all of us, you know. Hmm.
Yeah, and then being happy isn't having everything in your life be perfect. Maybe it's about stringing together all the little things like wearing these pants or getting a new level of Dragon's Lair, making those count
Right,
for more
Dragon's
than the
Lair
bad stuff."
for
Yeah.
context, Dragon's Lair was the um Tibby had like a friend, like a male friend that and she eventually spoilers for the sister of the Traveling Pants franchise, but
Yes.
she ends up with the guy Brian, which I thought was hilarious. Not the tangent again, but I thought it was funny that his name was Brian McBride.
Yes.
That's his name, Brian McBride. But like Dragon's Lair is the game that he would play in like a convenience store that was like
Yeah.
near Wallman's where she worked, or it was in Wallman's. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think it was close to Wallman's, but they would film certain things, and that was one of the things that Tibby
Yes.
would film. But it's a video game that they
Yeah.
always play just for
And also
context.
spoiler, in the second one I think she
Yeah.
almost thinks she's pregnant,
Mhm. Yeah.
which
Yeah, because I remember
yeah,
specifically in the and it was a shocking read for seventh and eighth grade me,
yes.
but I remember there's a storyline in the second book where Tibby's loses her virginity to Brian, and they have an issue where a condom breaks. So I
Yes.
remember that. I was like, oh, what? Like
Yes. Yeah.
me as a middle schooler, like, less scandal.
Yeah. Yeah, this movie it says Google says it's like a romance slash adventure movie.
I guess
I mean, I guess it is, but like,
some of them have romance and some of them have adventures.
yeah,
That's I love
but
the in a nutshell, like the little thing on Google where it says in a nutshell, amusing, emotional, sentimental. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, true. I guess it's accurate.
yeah. It says a third film was announced to be in the works in 2014. It would be based on the last Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants book. Um, and it was tapped to write a screenplay, blah, blah, blah. In 2018, Liddell has revealed that the film had recently been pitched. In October 22, Tamblyn stated that family life was one of the roadblocks to the film getting made.
Hmm.
And in 2024, she would love to make another sequel with all of them.
Yeah,
So
they
maybe
all are still. They all.
other friends.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's a thing that especially with the trend of like now everybody's like making sequels and like everybody's getting back like things are being made. Like there's the new Freaky Friday movies coming
Yep.
out. Like I feel like that it's just a next um Sisterhood movie definitely could happen. I don't know what it would look like. in this, like, I don't know if it would just be, I could picture it like being either like a theatrical release, or I could literally just picture them being like, it's gonna be on Netflix. Like,
Yes.
I could picture that
And
happening,
it
but
it says it would have been based on the Sisterhood Everlasting, so the very last one where it's like the
that
jump
makes
time
sense.
jump, the 10
That
years.
makes a lot of
So
sense.
that would be really interesting if they did end up
Mhm.
making it.
Yeah. And the other another reason why I think it could definitely be made is because they're all still really close. Like, they get together and have like
Yep.
reunions like regularly, and anytime I see it, it's always on like social media. Like, I remember they were having a lot of get-togethers when they were going to all the events for like Barbie. When
Yes.
Barbie came out, they were supporting America Ferrera, and I think they all went to one of the award shows that she was at too.
Yes.
So
Yep.
I loved seeing that. I was like, oh my heart,
Yes.
they're all so
And
great
it
friends.
does
Like,
say
that just means that they had great chemistry, because it's like it's been
to
like
remain friends. Yeah.
decades, and they still want to remain friends. Like, I think it's
Yes.
adorable.
And it says because the director of the first film,
Uh huh.
I think it's the first one. Yeah. It says in his filmography, Sisterhood Everlasting to be announced. So it looks like it's actually a thing.
I would be really happy if it
I would
happened.
be. They better put that in the theaters. Three of us are. If they
Yeah.
do, the three of us are going. Like,
Yes.
yep,
Yes.
yep.
Oh man.
Ah, do you have any quotes,
Do I have any
statuses?
quote? Well, the quote, I have one that's funny that I didn't mention before. It's kind of like one of my favorite ones, and I've said it, like, I found myself like saying it in like random times in my life, like later on. It's actually it's a random quote, but I just thought it was always so funny. I think it was definitely a clip in the trailer, and then I remember like seeing it in the movie, and I was like, I remember hearing that in the trailer, but it's when Lena is like really like awestruck by Costas, and she's kind of just like looking, like admiring him from afar, and the family's like looking at her, like wondering like what's going on. I think it's the grandmom, or the aunt, or the one lady that has like the dark curly hair that's always like mainly talking to her from the family, and she goes, she's everybody's like, oh, what's wrong with her? What's going on? And then she just goes, I think she's getting too much sun.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
That's just like one of my favorite quotes. Like, I think she's getting too much sun. She's just like awestruck by him, just like looking at it.
Yes.
That's the funny quote that I like. And then I guess the most like emotional, I love the ending, like after, so later on they do end up, Carmen ends up reconciling with her dad, and they end up all
Yep.
going to his wedding. They do like a road trip, which was really cute. I love the whole like, we're gonna take you to his wedding, we're doing a road trip. Like, I thought it was really
Yep.
cute. Um but I really like the quote that they say all at the end. I think it's like when it's like going into like almost the end credits. Um, the whole thing's really like, some things never would be, but we know that no matter how far we traveled on our own separate paths, somehow we would
Yep.
always find our way back to each other. And they keep going, like, you hear all of their different voices like saying the quote. Like, it's a
Yeah.
collective quote at the end of the movie, but it's like they keep like doing their own like voiceover, and I thought it was like really cute.
Yes.
They're like, to us, who we were and who we are and who we'll be, to the pants and the sisterhood and this moment and the rest of our lives. I'm getting emotional again.
Yes.
And they're like, and they all say together. They go together and apart, and I'm just like, I
Yes.
love friendship.
Also, I love when the quote, like what they say to each other when they're trying on the pants.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember. Um, trying to find it. Oh, so when Carmen, after they tried on, and then they're making Carmen try them on, and she
Hmm.
says, "You think a pair of pants that fits all three of you is going to fit?" And then in parentheses it says slaps hips, and then it goes Carmen all of this,
All this.
and she like
Yeah.
slaps herself.
Yeah.
And then when Lena tries it on, um,
Oh yeah, and they're like teasing her
yeah,
like about her,
um,
but like, cause Lena's very very
yes,
shy, very
timid, yeah,
conservative, very like, she doesn't really wear like tight clothing. Like, a lot of times everything that she wears
it's
is
like
like flowing
skirt,
skirts and
yes,
like loose like long sleeve shirts. And she doesn't really like showing off her body. So they're like, Lena Caligaris has a
yeah. And
body.
Carmen is like speaking Spanish, and she's like, I adores Mio Lena. You have a body, and then they're all shocked. And then she says again, like you, Lena, you have a body.
Yeah.
And then
Right, because
Lena's
like
like,
I don't think
stop,
they
stop.
ever.
I do
She's like,
not.
stop. She's
And
like, I
Carmen's
do
like, when
not.
did
No.
this happen? And Lena's like, stop. No.
Yeah.
But and also I really do like Bailey's monologue.
Yeah. It's wonderful.
That got me so much.
It is
Yeah.
wonderful.
Or just Bailey
Ugh.
saying, you have a price sticker on your forehead.
You have a price sticker.
That's the best. It's so
Price
great.
sticker on your phone. I think mine is the. If I'm picking a short quote, I pick the. I think she's getting too much sun.
Yes. Yes.
Because I've definitely said that, like, just randomly, like, to, like, my friends, and just like, "Ah, I think she's getting too much sun."
Yeah. It's
It's
so
like the
funny.
summertime. And funny enough, this video will never see the light of day, and I don't even think, even if it did see the light of day, the quality of it would probably be like, and what's below 480p on YouTube, like 244p, like it's
I
very
think
bad quality, but
360 maybe is the lowest.
360
Yeah.
it's probably even less than that. It's probably 244 at this point.
Yeah.
And I think I have it saved privately, so the next time we hang out, I would choose to you, but it's not something that I want the world to see. It's just a very old, like, you know how, like, when you were younger, you just make, like, random, like, videos and just
Uh-huh.
being, like, stupid, like, with your friends. So, like, me and 3 of my childhood friends did a reenactment of, the scene where they're, like, trying on the pants. We didn't
Yes.
actually, like, try on pants, but we were just doing, like, the dialogue back and forth, and whatever the dialogue was where they were in the shop, and we literally, like, dressed up as them to the best of our ability.
Yes. I
And
need
I
to see that.
remember I was Bridget. I had like a white tank top and a hoodie on, and like blue pants, and like my one friend like was dressed all in like purple to be Carmen. Um, my other friend had like really dark hair, so she was like Tibby,
Yeah.
and then we just reenacted the scene. So that's there's a lot of nostalgia attached to this movie for me for sure. Probably
Uh,
for making that video alone, because I remember we literally spent like an entire day just in my friend's basement, just like reenacting the Sisterhood
yes.
of the Traveling
I
Pants
love that.
on like her Kodak whatever
Oh
camera,
my
like
god. Yeah.
like a 2008, like
Yeah.
the old like camcorder like camera that definitely doesn't exist anymore.
That's
Or
so
like it might have even been those a digital camera that took video. I can't tell you honestly,
yeah.
but
I
yeah,
so let
it's
me
a good one.
find yes.
It's a good one.
I have a quote. Let me see if I can um
Yeah, I was about to
for,
say this is going to be another one of our 2 hour videos.
yes. 14 years ago.
Let me see if I can find one.
August
You said
13th.
14 years ago?
Yep, August 13th, 2010.
Oop.
Oh god. I am so clever that sometimes I don't understand a single word of what I'm saying.
Girl, if that's not relatable, it's like, what am
Sure.
I even saying anymore?
I'm so clever that I don't know what I'm saying. And then I also have that wasn't bad. It just doesn't make any sense. But
Uh-huh.
I saved this one um because I'm trying the online dating thing still. It's clearly not going well. Um, but this guy, the first thing it says, just trying to eat Dunkaroo icing off your tits with the little sparkle emoji afterwards to really pizzazz it up there. And then it goes, I get
He
super,
said, he
yeah,
said, I'm trying to make sure that you're, he was trying to make sure that the person that he's trying to find is old enough to know what Dunkaroos are.
yeah, yeah,
I think that was the motivation
yeah.
there.
Because you can eat any type of icing off a
Uh-huh.
girl's tits, but it has to be Dunkaroo icing. Um,
Is a specific man. Is he
yeah,
wants?
I get super sweaty and I yell at people on the stage and do marketing for concerts and bong companies and stuff. I have like 0 time, so I will 100% message you like we're already homies. Silly goose energy required. Same guy that likes to eat Dunkaroo icing off people's tits.
Bold right out the gate to admit that you're sweaty. Like I know everyone sweats, but like I wouldn't
But
lead with
he's
that. You know,
super sweaty. He likes to eat
I-
Dunkaroo icing off people's tits, and he needs his partner to be a silly goose.
a silly goose. That's the
Required.
only valid point that he made out of the three.
Yes. Uh,
This isn't like a funny quote. It's just kind of like oh cute because uh in September 12th of 2012, I said, hoping this day goes by super fast because I'm getting my new dog today, which now, RIP Audrey, she has now passed on.
oh,
But
lovely.
I thought that was really cute. I was like,
Yes.
oh,
Good memory. Good
oh,
memory.
Audrey.
Yes.
She was a wild dog.
She
I don't think
was.
you ever met. No,
Oh,
I don't think you ever did. No, because we
no.
were always at college, and then
Yeah.
when we were home, we were never close
Yeah.
enough to being. But yeah, she was a Boston Terrier Chihuahua mix. So she was a lot of energy in a very small package.
Ah,
That's
yes.
how I would describe her. But yeah,
But
in the memory of Audrey, she was a good dog.
we love it.
Yeah, I couldn't find because I hate that you can't just like search for like memories from like a certain year. It'll just say like on this day 12 years
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
But I don't have a funny memory right now. But
But
I guess it's in the spirit of the emotional nature of this movie
yes.
that we
Also,
talked
you
about.
could just listen back to this guy's profile if you want a good laugh.
Sure. You should be like, so I'm actually gonna post screenshots of this.
Honestly, post that as a meme for today's episode. Just just that section that says, I want to lick Dunkaroo icing off your tits. Put that on a
Again,
t-shirt.
very, very, very. Put that on a t-shirt. Ah,
Everyone's got a hobby. So,
everyone's kind of hobby. Some are just more specific than others.
like this guy. At least
Yeah.
he's forward and honest, and maybe somebody out there would be like, please do that. You know?
No, can you imagine there's somebody out there specifically that's like, finally,
or
I've been
like
looking for
or
someone to do
or
that
like her
exact thing.
her profile says, I would like a guy who will like Dunkaroo icing off my tits, and then she finds his profile and it's like, oh, and then they swipe.
Finally.
But imagine you
Well,
don't get a
hey,
lot of icing in that Dunkaroo packaging, so you gotta use like multiples. I feel like
you gotta be. That's a specific goal. You gotta be determined and
if you
using it sparingly.
yeah, you gotta use multiple just for one side. I feel like that's a lot.
He just has like he just has like a garage full of.
Why do you just? Oh, you have a fridge back up. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Your man cave. Mm-hmm.
Like
It's
why
like,
do you
what's?
have
Oh, can
a
I get
why do you
beer?
have
Oh, there's no beer in there. Well, what's in there?
a
Dunkaroos.
lifetime supply of Dunkirk?
Yeah, he signed up for like a giveaway, like back when Dunkaroos were
Like
popular in the '90s, and now he just has a lifetime supply.
that's funny.
It's like the Danimals commercials. Do you remember those?
Oh my god, stop! Yeah,
Like,
the
and you can meet
sweepstakes.
like Dylan Nicole Sprouse.
You
Like,
can meet Cody.
yeah.
I wonder who. If you're listening to this and you were the winner, then that's like
Oh
Cody.
my
Let
god.
us know. We'll get
Yes.
you on the. We'll get you on the pod.
Yes. I really
I would
need to
love
know
to
how
know
that
who
went.
met Zach and Cody.
I think I would have died back then. I probably
Yeah.
would die now. Honestly.
Yeah. Hey. Hey. I mean, what does the well Cole did like Riverdale, and I think he did he had a
Yeah.
movie that came out this year
Yep.
called like Lisa Frankenstein, I
Yeah.
think, where he
Yeah.
played a monster.
Yep.
But hey,
And
and then I
then
don't
I
know.
know Dylan's
Dylan's married to the
Barbara.
model
Yeah, I forget
Barbara
her last
Palvin.
name, but yeah. And then he
Yeah,
owns a
Barbara Palvin.
meadery, which is cool. So
Ooh,
like he makes his own mead.
nice. Oh, meat. I thought,
Oh,
thought
yeah.
you. I thought you said meatery, like MEATERY.
Oh
I was like,
no, no, no. Like the alcohol.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, I guess I'm deaf. What can I say? Oh God. All right. Well, that's it. That's it for today, folks.
That's
If you
all,
enjoyed this,
folks.
right? That's all, folks. With that Looney Tunes.
Yes.
God, the delirium's kicking in. Oh, I'm so
Yes.
glad it's Friday tomorrow. I'll say that
Oh,
much.
true. It's gonna be a good day at work because I know it's Friday. So
Thank God. Okay. Cheers to the almost weekend, and
yes.
check out our socials. Catch up on the pod. If you found this
TikTok.
episode very, very charming, we have some other nostalgia episodes. We have an episode where we talked about rom-coms, very similar, kind of a similar vibe to this
Yes.
one, you know?
And then the OG Nostalgia Hour decom original.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And more
Yes.
more to come because
Halloween's
maybe we'll get
yes,
like a maybe we
September.
could get like a
Oh,
Halloween
yeah.
nostalgia.
Yeah, we're doing that.
Yep.
Yep.
The wheels are turning. We could probably have one for Christmas. So this will not be the last
Yes.
nostalgia hour. Okay?
Yes. I
So
love it.
stay tuned for all that.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.